Well, hello. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Do me a quick solid. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Give me a follow. It would mean the world to me. And now here's a quick snippet of what you might have missed last week.
A goes where A goes. And he goes to the
B, C, D, E, F, G.
But I like it.
You know
I've
your
never,
ABCs, yes.
ever once misplaced a file. Ever once.
I'm just discovering I'm so meat and potatoes as I hear about these things. I'm just like,
just
what about titties?
Missionary, 2.5 minutes, done. Thank you very much.
Dave just prefers meat and potatoes dumped on his feet to get him
Is
in
that
the mood.
right?
And now, coming up on this episode of Real Garbage. They didn't even clear that store out before they trashed it. They're like, he's gone, smash it. I'm like, it's full of rare items. One being a mogwai that you don't even know was there.
Is it Mogwai or Mogwomp?
Mogwai.
Okay, what's a Mogwomp then?
Something you made up.
Okay, that
Is it
checks
from
out.
Super Mario Brothers?
Totally. I'm gonna
Mogwomp?
Google it. I feel like a Mugwomp. Maybe that was what they called the Sasquatch because there's probably proprietary rights on Sasquatch for the kokanee guys. They're called Mugwomps. I don't know.
It sounds like some sort of made up like sound you make when you're like, oh man, everybody's so sad. Mogwai.
That's what. And I apologize if this is a racial slur that I've inadvertently picked up somewhere.
People are typing right now, these sons of bitches.
No idea.
Call me a mogwomp. Yeah, this one we had a blast reviewing Gremlins 2, the new batch from 1990. 31 years later, this movie still holds up. It's so good. Darren Millar joined me for this one. He's from the Ill Informers podcast. Check it out if you haven't already. We're going to get right to this review after a quick word from our fake sponsors.
Did you used to have dreams and aspirations? Did you want to make $1 million? Did you want to have a timeshare in Cabo, a jet ski boat, the love of your father? Well, look no further. Pick up those shattered pieces of your shards of your potential and glue them back together with Dream Repair Real Estate Licensing Incorporated. Did you want to be a lawyer? Get Dream Repair Licensing Real Estate Incorporated. Wanted to be a doctor? Dream Repair Licensing Real Estate Incorporated. You wanted to be a rock and roll star? Lower your expectations and come in with Dream Repair Licensing Real Estate Incorporated. For 4 easy payments of $999 and 1 easy eye exam, you may get Dream Repair Licensing Real Estate Incorporated. Not recognized in 48 of the continental United States, nor in Canada. May only practice in the Republic of Guyana, selling commercial real estate spaces less than 40 feet in square diameter. Dream Repair Licensing Real Estate Incorporated, because you're just not quite ready to give up yet.
Are you a new parent? Having trouble with your newborn baby? Just can't seem to get it to sleep? Well, then call the Professional Baby Shakers Limited Liability Corporation. Professional Baby Shakers will come to your house and shake your baby softly to sleep. Unless you really want him to sleep, then we'll shake it really hard. Professional Baby Shakers are fully licensed to shake your baby left, right, up, and down. Call them today or check out the website, professionalbabyshakers.com. Real garbage. Should have put more thought into that.
No, I like that. That's people. They do tell you when you have kids. I got 2 kids. They tell you not to shake them, but in actual fact, I recommend shaking babies.
Well, that brought to you by commercial was inspired by the Ill Informers. Darren's co-host Nash Park. Shout out to Nash Park.
Big baby
So you
shaker.
mentioned
This
something
guy,
about
baby
huge
shaker.
You guys were talking about shaking trees or something. He's like, I'm a professional baby shaker, and I came and shook some trees instead. Knock the apples off it.
Yeah, trees are much more resilient than babies. That's true. The I do remember there's something where I understand parents who shake babies. This could be comment below if you have anything to say. But I remember sitting and my daughter going to sleep, and she must have been like she was months old and crying. It's like 3 a.m. You're exhausted as a new parent. You're just like, oh fuck, and just look. And I would just remember thinking, I was like, oh, this is how it happens, because you're just going, if I just put the pillow over her head. Just she would be quiet for a bit. That would be amazing. And then you're like, oh, that's how you wind up in prison.
That man, like, how many kids do you have? 2?
2.
3?
Yeah, 2.
How old are they?
How old are they? Good question,
Whoa,
Jeff.
whoa, whoa. We can edit this. We're just gonna edit this.
15 and 11.
I don't know if I could do it. Like, I was at the park on Sunday this past weekend, which was beautiful. Just went and my girl and I just went and chilled on Sunday at Playfair Park. Man, if you're a big fan of rhododendrons, those really cool flowers only flower for like 3 weeks of the year. Go there because somebody planted a forest of them about 70 years ago. So they're like full tree size.
Where is this park?
Playfair Park. It's just off of, you take the highway to Quadra and then turn on Quadra and go into town. It passes Mackenzie, and then just as it curves up past Mackenzie, you turn left on Rock Street, and it's at the end of the street. Okay. It's amazing. Like, there's like a dozen or 15 different colors of rhodos, and they're like tree sized. Because normally they're just pretty small. People keep them pruned. I have one on the front there. It's like this big. But these ones are like full on trees, all twisted and gnarly and stuff. It's so cool.
That's good. You guys were on mushrooms when you were out there, weren't you?
No, we were not. That's this weekend. That's this weekend. But what I was getting at was somebody had a baby there.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just screaming at one point. And the mom's going like, nobody wants to hear you crying. Come on now. Nobody wants to hear you crying. You could just hear that rage in her voice that she just wanted to choke that child.
Well, and that's one of the most taunting things about being a parent is you get in, you realize that no one wants to hear that. So you're at a park, you've taken your baby to the movie theater for some ridiculous reason, and then your baby starts crying and you're like, oh, this is so, and it's embarrassing and you want to do that. Just be quiet, baby. Yeah. It's not for the faint of heart. And like, I think I'm pretty tolerant of it. I kind of go, oh, but people do get upset with people and their babies like crying in public spaces. And I'm like, oh, I understand that. But I'm also like, it's a fucking baby and it's going to cry.
We were all babies once. I guess I'm too faint of heart. I'm just not going to do it.
Dude.
I'm getting too old. I'm almost 40. I'm like,
You're not going to bang out a couple of little munchkins and just fucking...
Nope.
No?
Nope.
You've just...
Everyone else can worry about it. Everybody else can worry about it. I like the option of just being able to go, well, I'm getting out of this situation.
Do you have siblings?
I do.
So you got nieces and nephews and stuff?
Yes. So I have a cousin, like two cousins who now both have kids. My cousin Chantel has 2.
Cousins are not the same as...
so they're second cousins.
Okay.
So no, sorry. So yeah, wow. Okay. No, my brother and sister my older brother's not having children. He's like, no, him and I are on the same page. And my sister's like, oh, I totally want to. I'm like, all right, cool, right on. Mm-hmm. But even she's getting like 37 this year. And that's, that's getting up in the years. She's like, I want to have kids eventually. I'm like, well, you better do it now.
Yeah.
I just finished this book called Countdown about the declining sperm count and like reproductive rate of humans right now. We're on a decline, man.
That's not a bad thing.
It's not. Well, we're going to be able to buy a house at some point in the next 20, 30 years. So
I just got to wait until I retire and then scrape together my pennies.
My whole plan is once I hit 55, then I'm going to buy in a 55 plus park. I figure there's other people like-minded like myself that are thinking the same thing. I was like, we should just get a bunch of us together and just buy a whole trailer park.
Dude, I used to work with this older lady, older than me. She may watch this, so I want to be like, ooh. And
I heard you on Real Garbage. I can't believe you said that.
You're fucking old. But she was saying that's what everyone's doing. All those people are buying houses together. So you go in get a nice big old Victorian house or whatever it is, 4 or 5 bedrooms, and you get in there with a couple other people and buy your space and hang out. And that's the way to do it. And you're like, yeah, who needs a fucking... I mean, it's just not going to be like our parents' generation where they had 2-car garage and blah, blah. Like my parents bought a house. My dad's like, well, that house was, cost me as much as 4 years pay. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, I can't buy a house that's a $200,000 house. This ain't going to fucking happen.
Dude, we did a job this week for some guy. We ripped up a patio and laid down grass. Mm-hmm. And he had bought the house that he was in 1962 for $9,000 in Fernwood. And you know how much he was making? Because we were joking about it. He's like, oh, he's probably making like 25 cents an hour. We asked him. He's 96 years old. How much were you making when you bought this house? And he goes, I was making $13 an hour. I'm like, what? In 1962,
Yeah.
$13 an hour. I'm like, that house was paid for.
Oh, yeah.
Because you weren't paying for Netflix and phone and internet and all that crap. I was making $5 an hour at 7-Eleven in 1999.
Yeah, all the hot rod pepperoni sticks you steal.
All the magazines and cigarettes and all the Slurpees you could drink.
Yeah, if I had a time machine, I'm not going back to kill Hitler. I'm going back to buy property in Fernwood.
I don't
70 years ago.
You got to find the right people to move in together with, though. That's the thing. But it would be like, if you think about it, it'd be cool to get a bunch of people together who want to make like sketch comedy and do stand up and podcast and have a big enough backyard where you could host people and do comedy shows in the backyard. That'd be cool.
I also, though, I'm at the age too where I want to be left alone a lot. Yeah. So if guys
agree.
are like, "You're coming down here to do some beer pogs, we're gonna make a fucking whatever sketch," and I'm like, "God, I'm trying to read my book."
I live alone for a reason because I'm really starting to hate people. Except for guests.
That's good. There's a very hard out, and it's not my hard out. It's Jeff is like, this podcast is done. He's like, get the fuck out of here.
Get out of here. Are you an underpaid handyman? Are you tired of doing jobs for ungrateful customers and getting paid shit for it? Well, then do I have the solution for you. Willie Gray's here, and I'm here to tell you about something that will change your life. Introducing Shit Seal, the strongest, most flexible waterproof tape on the planet. Because this shit, am I right? No job is too big for Shit Seal. Leaky faucet? Shit Seal it. Cracks in the house foundation? Shit Seal it. Loose cupboard door? You got it, buddy. Slap some Shit Seal on it, get the out of there, and let some other asshole deal with it. They're not paying you what you're worth anyway, so why go the extra mile? Shit Seal takes the headache out of those pesky home repairs and frees you up to do what you really want to be doing. Getting high. Shit Seal comes with a lifetime warranty, so if that shit breaks, it's not your problem anyway. Once you're paid, these old rich pieces of shit. Shit Seal. Available on my handyman website, williegrays.com. Order now and you'll receive a copy of my new book, Willie Gray's How to Be a at Work and in Real Life. You'll learn all sorts of life hacks, like how to take up 2 parking spaces at the grocery store, how to block aisles like a boss, and how to enrage other drivers by following too closely and not using your turn signal. That's Shit Seal, because it. So Gremlins 2. I love this. When you suggested this, I was like, you know what? Yeah. This was 1990.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this. I watched this when I was 8. This is a PG-13 rating.
I
watched it when I was 8.
So it was that's what I remember watching the first Gremlins, because I'm older than you by,
How old are you?
I'm 45.
Okay, so you got like a 7-year, you're 6.5 years older than me.
So I watched, I'm a couple years older than you. I'm
27. You're way older than me.
That's right. Yes, that's what I feel like. I feel like I'm 27. I've got the body of a 90-year-old. I watched the first movie at a drive-through in a double feature in the back of a station wagon. Watched the first Gremlins. This Gremlins, I don't think I saw in the theater because I think I was 15. So I was probably like, oh, this is a bit.
I'm above this.
I'm trying to read the subtitles as fast as I can for that French movie. But I do think, like, watching it, I was so impressed. I thought it was great. And I know it got slammed and people were like, that is a horrible movie. But it was a good movie.
It didn't, though. I try not to look at the reviews before I started watching. I was like, I'm just going to go in because I'd seen this movie. Thinking back now, probably watched it half a dozen times when I was younger. Because it scared the hell out of me. But for some reason, I had this weird sadistic love of watching movies that scared the shit out of me when I was growing up.
So how did this, I guess you were 6 years old. I was going to be like, how did this movie, 8, yes. How did this movie scare you? Because it's like the Muppet Show.
Yes. I agree. But it's the actual Gremlins themselves, like, were terrifying because they're so well done. They're so well made.
Yeah.
Because, like, just their skin, their reptilian skin and their razor sharp teeth and their freaky eyes, the way they move, it just creeped me out. Like, because when you're a kid, you got a pretty vivid imagination. So, like, everything is real. Gremlins are actually outside in the yard at night when the sun goes down because they don't like the sunlight.
The lady with the Sphinx cat, you're like, that's a gremlin.
Yes. Oh, there was a movie called Ghoulies. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yes.
The monsters came out of the toilet.
Is that the sort of Gremlins ripoff too? Or was it before?
Ooh, that's a good question. It might have been around the same time. There was Ghoulies, Critters, and Gremlins. Critters was rated
Critters
R.
is the one I'm thinking.
That one was rated R.
Was there boobs in it? That's why it's rated R?
Probably boobs. But a lot of blood and gore.
Yeah.
Like Gremlins, they weren't ripping people apart. They were biting, but that was about it.
Yeah, because I found this movie. I did end up saying to my wife, I was like, oh, I would like to watch this with my nephews who are 4 and 7. And she's like, you can't watch this with them. They're going to be terrified. I was like, these are lovable. Like, I thought Jim Henson, until I started reading about it, I thought, oh, for sure this is Jim Henson Muppet creatures, but it's not. It's some
Warner
other
Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the people that made Looney Tunes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because that's the first thing about the movie. When they open up with that cartoon, like straight away, I was like, oh, this is going to be a kid's movie.
I don't know. Like that's what I was expecting, was it to have a PG rating. I thought, I remember Gremlins being a kid's movie. Then when I looked, I was like, PG-13. Oh, well, that's a little different. I don't know why they would have got the PG-13 rating.
Well, because people are pretty uptight back in the, I guess, 90s. They would have been very like anything mildly scary. Plus, also you want to entice those under 13s to come into the theater. So you make it PG-13 and you're like, ooh, I'm going to sneak in. I remember sneaking in to see Total Recall.
Oh, so good. So good. Get your ass to Mars.
And I was horrified by it.
Wait, was it the 3 boobs, or was when Arnie falls into the surface of Mars and is going, it was that, his eyes are bugging out of his face.
And the creature on the back, is it on his chest? He's got the...
Quaid,
yes.
Start the reactor.
Like, oh my God, this is disgusting.
That was pretty gross. I think it was coming out of his stomach. Was it his stomach?
He was a good host. He was a good host for...
Yeah, it may have been his back.
Queef, was it? Was that the name of
it?
Quaid?
I think it's Douglas Quaid. I think.
Dennis Quaid?
Yeah. Shitter was full. Oh, wait, no, that's Randy Quaid. I just got those two mixed up. Dennis Quaid, I guess.
That wasn't the creature in his chest. Was Randy Quaid?
Oh God. You gotta get your ass to Mars.
So good.
Okay, do you want to tell people what Gremlins 2,
God.
The New Batch, is all about?
Okay, so Gremlins 2, The New Batch, I don't remember her name. Billy and Phoebe Cates from the first movie moved to the big city of New York City, the biggest city.
Hey,
moved there and trying to make it in the world in Clamp Towers. And then there is an infestation of gremlins they're revisited by that tear apart the tower and force them to rethink everything in their lives.
This Clamp guy, I swear so I think the episode of Simpsons with Scorpio came out after this movie.
Don't like him? Then neither do I. Get the hell out of here. Ha! Ever see a guy say goodbye to a shoe?
He was a lot like Scorpio.
I have no pop culture knowledge, so
how do you not know Scorpio?
I don't
Simpsons?
know who is Scorpio.
Scorpio was a businessman. Like my friend Tyler likes to compare him to Elon Musk because Elon Musk, he built a flamethrower. Scorpio had a flamethrower. He was a very outgoing business guy, but he was like a supervillain at the same time. Oh my God, Homer, you did a great job. When you get home, there's going to be another story on your house. Like just that kind of fast talking, always we got to figure out how to turn this into a business sort of thing. And that's what Clamp was.
Yeah, well, Clamp, I thought for sure. What is it? Is Scorpio only in one episode of The Simpsons?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up,
dude. I'm gonna send you some Scorpio research and information here.
Okay, perfect. Because when I saw the Clamp guy, I was like, oh man, this is Donald Trump. Like that's who they're fucking with, is Donald Trump a little bit, because they come in and in the beginning of the movie they have the I Took Manhattan and he's selling his book, and I'm like, oh, that's got to be a lot. So look up Trump Art of the Deal. I was like, yeah, 1987, and he's still got that same kind of slimy, I don't know, Trumpishness about him.
That Trump essence to him. Look at me. So yeah, we get right into this. This is Clamp Corporation is basically trying to take over this one block so they can build the first fully automated, basically AI. This is like 1990s AI. Fully automated building. And is it also like a living space too? Or is it just a business
I think it's
place?
Just
because it seemed to have a lot of different facets. Like there was a genetics lab and there was a concession stand. Seemed to be like a movie theater in there as well.
Yeah, there was a food court, and then there was also there was there was like a Wall Street in there because at one point the Gremlins take over and you're like, is that Wall Street's moved into the building now?
And it seemed like they were just trying to encompass everything they possibly could into one building.
When they go in and I can't remember his name, but the guy who has he's the last holdout in Chinatown, and they go to try to buy it from him. There's a few things in the movie that come up where I'm like, we're trying to highlight stop Asian hate, I think. But the thing was every time in the 80s, Chinatown, and then they do that and I'm like, I don't think that's on anymore. Like, you're not allowed to do that. And there's a guy in there who played Long Duck Dong in 16 Candles. There was a few people from 16 Candles in the movie. And the guy
was Long Duck Dong the guy, the cameraman?
The cameraman, right?
So good.
He's hilarious. But then I was like reading about him. I'm like, I wonder if he gets a lot of flack because he's a Asian American, but he doesn't speak any Asian languages. I think his parents are Chinese, but he's made a career of being like this stereotypical Asian. I'm the tourist with the camera and that. I wonder if there's any blowback. He's like 65 right now, and he's made a pretty good living. So I'm sure he's like, I don't give a shit. But
well, if you think about it, this was 1990. It wasn't people weren't as woke as they are right now. So back then, it was like, hey, if I can pigeonhole myself into this one spot here and make a good living out of it, like you look at a lot of people, actors who were the henchmen, like the bad guys against like Jean-Claude Van Damme. He always had Bolo Young. Bolo Young was the dude. He's like, we need a big Asian guy that could do martial arts. Bolo Young, put him in there. He was like the guy that always fought Van Damme in movies. I could see. Yeah, back then it didn't really matter. Now it's like, well, you can't really play that Oriental music, and you can't even say anymore.
No,
Jesus, I have to
you
censor
sound like my
myself there.
grandmother. She's like, it could have been worse. I said, you're like, Grandma, you can't say that. I always thought that too. Like, I always figured if I had been a little person, I would have moved to Hollywood immediately, and I would have been like, any Santa Claus movies, I'm fucking down. Like, the paycheck's gonna be awesome, and I'm great.
Dude,
I've got my niche.
Warwick Davis made a huge living on being a tiny person.
Dude, and he slid right into being he's all the Harry Potter movies. And then what do you do after that? You're like, just fan conventions for the rest of your life, selling autographs for $25 a pop.
People still love Willow. Still a great movie.
Yeah.
And there's also a movie, I think it's called Life is Short. And it's him and Ricky Gervais. And it's worth watching.
Yeah.
It's great. There's a scene with Liam Neeson where Liam Neeson's trying to do comedy.
Okay, let's do some improvisational comedy.
I can't now, Liam.
It's a bad toilet. Let's do some improvisational comedy now.
Okay.
So good.
So they're trying to take over this shop, and the old dude's coughing, and they leave. They're like, "Oh man, how are we going to get this shop?" And he's like, "Don't worry, did you hear that cough? He doesn't have long." And then all of a sudden, boom! 6 weeks later, he's dead. I'm like, "What? Oh wow, they didn't waste any time in this."
Yeah. Well, and they got right into the movie because then it's like Billy and Phoebe Cates walk into the building. There was some stuff about the movie that was great too, like the automatic doors. Each time they went past the auto, there was always something going on with them. Like they're always broken. So
but he's stuck in the rotating door at the start there.
And it just spits them out and just like a cacophony of papers, and it was pretty fantastic.
It was a little bit of slapstick peppered into this.
Well, that was the great thing about it. Like all the way through, it was all bits, right? It was all like they were just like, we've got these gremlins, let's fucking go. We're doing bits, man. In the building.
I think that's why I liked it so much, was that it kept you interested. You're like, man, what's the next one going to be? What's the next one going to be? I was kind of interested in the fact they didn't even clear that store out before they trashed it. They're like, he's gone, smash it. I'm like, it's full of rare items. One being the mogwai that you don't even know was there.
Is it mogwai or mogwomp?
Mogwai.
Okay, what's a mugwump then?
Something you made up.
Okay, that checks
from
out.
Super Mario Brothers?
Totally. I'm going to Google it. I feel like a mugwump. Maybe that was what they called the Sasquatch, because there's probably proprietary rights on Sasquatch for the kokanee guys. They're called mugwumps. I don't know.
It sounds like some sort of made up like sound you make when you're like, oh man, everybody's so sad. Mogwump.
That's what. And I apologize if this is a racial slur that I've inadvertently picked up somewhere.
People are typing right now, these sons of bitches.
No idea.
Call me a mogwump. So we get a little glimpse into the Clamp building and how this place works. They're all about efficiency. like super efficient. There's cameras, there's microphones everywhere. You can't have any personal effects as we get introduced to. I didn't really catch a lot of names.
So there was Forrester, who was Clamp's right hand man, and he gives Billy shit because he's like, can't have a plant in here, and then he's got a picture of his beautiful like quaint hometown. He's like, this is not approved artwork. You need geometric shapes. This is
Circles only.
So we got his art. And I like the one thing that's cool about this movie too. A lot of those, and I don't know if it's because it's 30 years after the fact, but a lot of those guys are like character actors from all over the place. Like there was so many people. I was like, oh shit, who's that guy? Oh, who's that lady? Oh,
Forrester was in one of the Star Treks. I want to say Deep Space Nine or Voyager.
Yeah, and was he also in Seinfeld too? Maybe, I don't know. Don't fact check that.
Who knows, man? They had how many?
He was George.
100. Yeah, he was Costanza, wasn't he? Wasn't he? Hey, who's this guy? Wasn't he Jerry?
It was quite good. Like there was the one guy, Dick Miller, who turns up later to crash with Billy and Phoebe Cates.
Oh,
he's
Mr.
like
Futterman.
Mr. Futterman.
Mary Futterman.
He's like been in everything. That guy used to do coke with Jack Nicholson and hang out with all those boys like Hopper and So you're like, oh, how did this guy? And you realize you're like, oh, the director of the movie, Joe Dante, directed a bunch of shit pictures with all those like young actors, and that's why he's like, do you want to roll? Hey, how do you want to make? You want to make $180,000? Let's go. I got you.
Want to kill some gremlins? Let's do it.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot about that guy. As soon as I saw him, I was like, oh, he was the nutjob conspiracy neighbor from the first Gremlins that was like, he always paranoid about stuff, and he's the guy that ended up saving the day, wasn't he? I think.
I don't know. I think because I did read something where they said that they were killed in the first movie, but then that's the big reveal is they're back in the second one.
So I'm assuming that all evidence of Gremlins, I didn't Google this, but I'm assuming that all evidence of the Gremlins were destroyed at the end of the first one, because like you'd think a small infestation of these monsters that replicate because they get wet and then turn into giant bloodthirsty creatures would make news.
Yeah, you think
across
people
the
would find out about that, but no, they're just like hush hush. And there was nothing like this was all pre-X-Files, so there was no like SWAT team black suits come in and like
wasn't like
nail everything down.
And they're down in the big thingamajiggy.
And there's also very surprising with these two movies, or maybe not, but there's 6 years between sequels, which is not what they do nowadays.
6 years later?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because now they're like, oh, did that even make a modicum of money? Part 2, let's go.
Yeah, it didn't make any money. Make it anyway.
That's right.
Fast and Furious 9 is coming out soon.
Oh my God, I will not see it.
They're going to space though. Come on, you gotta watch it.
Did we cover this last? I was like, I've seen. People were telling me to watch Tokyo Drift.
Yeah, you've seen 2, and they didn't even have Vin Diesel in either one. Because you watched Tokyo Drift, and you watched what would the other one be? I think he's been in all the other ones.
No, someone was. Yeah, you guys maybe were saying watch Tokyo Drift. It's pretty good. It's kind of like samurais and cars.
It's not though.
No,
it's terrible.
Okay, I did watch one in the theater, but I was pretty hammered and I fell asleep.
Watch the first one and then watch Fast 5. Okay, so there's the Fast and the Furious. This first one. Then there's Too Fast, Too Furious. Then there's Tokyo Drift. That's the third one. Then there's I'm gonna mess this up. Then there's like Fast and Furious. Then there's Fast 5. And I think the sixth one is also called Fast and the Furious, maybe. And then there's like F7, and then Fast 8. I'm just
Fast and the Furious.
There's 9 of them already.
The
though.
Furious is in the Fast.
More
the fast
furious and even faster. And then, but anyway, the 5th one and the 7th and 8th one have The Rock in them,
and they're good.
Yeah. John Cena's going to be in the next one. He's in the 9th one.
I don't know if I there's a bunch of guys who I'm buddies with who are like in their early to mid 30s, and that was a real like hallmark of their adolescence, where they're like, man, Fast and the Furious movies are fucking great, and I just like,
dude,
I can't.
Those movies, I left the theater when I was like, that's probably 98. I was 97 when it came out. No, 99. Doing like burnouts in the Toyota Camry. I put like neon caps on my air things on my tires. I put like spinner rims on there. It was silly. Spinner hubcaps, actually.
Oh, you had spinner. No, those are cool. Those are. I want to
fake
put them on my
plastic spinners.
Dodge Caravan.
Riding on blades. Okay. So I didn't realize Christopher Lee was in this too.
Yes.
Saruman.
But that's where I feel like all these guys, like Joe Dante, I feel like Joe Dante tapped all those guys. Because Christopher Lee, you don't realize that he was the Eye of Sauron or whatever. Saruman. That was it.
Saruman the White.
But he also was like a vampire back in the 50s. He was Dracula and shit. Like, he's been around forever. So that's quite a get.
He's a metal singer too, eh?
No.
Yeah.
No.
You didn't know this?
No.
Oh, and insert song here.
This is...
See?
I feel like, okay, so, but I feel like a bunch of 20-year-old guys were like, dude, you play metal, we get Christopher Lee to be our singer. He's your grandpa, right? Yeah, my grandpa do. Krebs, you totally gotta help hold my metal band, dude.
All right, then. I'll sing for you.
What do you want me to sing? Heard it, heard it, heard it. It's perfect, Gramps.
See, I told you. I wasn't making it up. All right, so...
Speaking of Gramps... They go to Grandpa Dracula? Oh, no.
Fred. This guy, I love this. This guy reminds me, he reminds me of the guy from Mrs. Doubtfire. He is the guy from Mrs. Doubtfire.
No, he's not. Which guy?
He's the boss. He's Robin Williams' boss.
Okay.
See if she has another lady friend for me. They're getting all wasted at the restaurant at the end.
I love his one line that he's got, sorry, because you can tell the kid loves him, thinks he's so great. And he's like, sorry about the new time slot. He's like, 3 a.m. Only people watching these movies at 3 a.m., the only thing they're scared of is getting sober or finding a job. I'm just like, it's so funny.
At this point, we've discovered this. So Christopher Lee's at the lab. Yeah, it's hilarious. This building has a genetics lab that it seems like Mr. Clamp didn't even really clear. He was just like, I knew that'd be a bad idea. It's like, well, yeah, they're doing genetic testing on animals and people.
And everything was so beautiful in the lab was I like that it was called Splice O Life. It's a Splice O Life genetics lab.
Oh yeah, where they're cloning that the security guard from Terminator 2.
Yes, was it Terminator 2 and Good Morning Vietnam? Because that was the reveal. He finds Gizmo walking along the street after they destroy the building and pockets him, and they're like, "Did you do you got any new things for me?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, we did. We found this mogwai. They don't know it's a mogwai. We found this creature, this gerbil." And turns around and there's two of them. And you're like, oh.
Yeah. How is the cloning coming along? Perfect, doctor. Yes, perfect, doctor. I'm like, oh, yeah, they're twins. That's right.
That's why the cloning is so good.
It seems like they're just so nonchalant about cloning. It's like you cloned a fully functional human being and they're just like, it's going great, doctor. It's fantastic. How did he not know it was going well?
How did he not know?
Sorry, I still have to pick this part a little bit. Still have to nitpick a little bit. I love this movie, but still gonna nitpick it.
Well, it's a little bit. Well, that's the thing about the movie. It's so tongue in cheek. Everything that happens in it is like a.
You have
blink,
to suspend
blink.
all your disbelief. Just leave it all outside. Lock it up.
My only complaint, I do have one complaint about it, is Gizmo was not in it enough. But every time he was in it, it was like a cute break. Mm-hmm. It was just like brrr, with his ears and like, grrr. And when they turn on the 50s surf music for him and he starts dancing and tries to run away, Christopher Lee grabs him and...
Nice try. I'm like, wow, you're quick on that, bud. Just grabs him by the neck.
What did you think special effects were?
Pretty good.
Yes.
Not bad. Not bad. They were, for 1990, they were pretty good. Like, it's just him dancing on a green screen, but I was like, the green screen's pretty good.
So how did they do? Did they get a full-grown guy dancing in a Mogwai suit on a green screen and then shrink him and put him?
No, that's a lot. Well, that could work. I had that Mogwai stuffed animal when I was a kid, and it kind of looked like that. And they might have just had somebody with a green glove on the green screen just making it dance.
Oh,
and then they just, key him out.
Because everything, I could not, if you gave me 40 years, I couldn't build something as good as that 30-year-old technology. Like the way they made his ear, because it wasn't stop motion, so they actually had stuff in the ears that would bend it. And I'm just like, how did they, it's movie magic.
Me, man. That's why I'm just one of the people that relies on other people in the world. Like, in an apocalyptic situation, it's like, oh, fuck. I'm screwed.
Who knows how to build fire?
I can start a fire if I have a lighter and an axe and wood and paper.
And some fire.
Yeah. So I can keep a fire going. Oh yeah, delivery guy shows up and he hears the
Yes.
and he whistles it downstairs and Billy's like, "Where'd you hear that?" And he's like, "Oh, I was up in the genetics lab and that's where I heard somebody humming it." It's like, okay, there's
And Billy immediately isn't like, that's weird. That's the same song my gremlin, or not gremlin, my mogwai used to hum.
Mugwump? What'd you call it?
Mugwump.
Mugwump?
I'm sorry if that's
You fucking mugwump. Meanwhile, we've been canceled. I didn't know what it was.
That's what ignorance is not a reason for ignorance, Jeff.
It's true. That's fair. I know. I'm not woke.
So it's weird because you go, it is odd that Gizmo just ended up in the same building with Billy and that he's not like, oh, that song he's humming. Oh my God, my Mogwai used to hum that song. He's like, where is he?
Yeah. Goes up to the genetics lab, just walks past basically like, oh, excuse me, I'm here to fix the copier. She's like, oh yeah, it's over there. Like, wow, one secretary at the front of the genetics lab with no gates, no locks, nothing.
It was cavalier in the 90s.
And just like samples laying around. People can drink them, people can look at them.
And that's what because he's grabbing her tissues. He's like, oh, we'll be able to use something. Because
he's like, oh, I'm going to get
was
the
it Julia
flu.
Sweeney from Saturday Night Live was the...
Oh, that's who that was.
Yeah. I recognized her straight away because I was like, oh, it's Pat. And I was like,
It's Pat. I forgot about her. I didn't recognize her, though, because she was always sneezing into her hands.
Ugh.
It's disgusting. Anyway, he gets Gizmo out of there, takes him down to his office, puts him in a drawer, and then we get introduced to Clamp here. Clamp, and everyone's like, oh my God, it's him. Because I guess he never walks around his building.
Can we talk about his boss for a second? His immediate boss, Marla, who was...
the power-hungry...
fucking awful. Power-hungry vamp.
What was her accent?
Oh, Jersey. Like full Jersey.
Oh my God. No, that's not Jersey, is it?
That's pretty close. Who's counting? Jersey.
I was working on it while I was watching this, then I forgot.
She's got that deep Jersey accent, always walking around smoking and just willing to do anything to climb that corporate ladder.
Power hungry. Well, that's all Clamp's company's about is power. There's even the voiceover in the building going, have a powerful day, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah, that voiceover in the building over everything was so good.
Marla's like, oh, because I guess Clamp kind of looks at the design that Billy has made. He's like, oh my God, what is that? You've encapsulated everything. Who are you? William, I'm Billy. Bill, nice to meet you. And Marla instantly is like, ooh. Yeah, literally takes her glasses off.
What are you doing tonight? You're
having dinner with me, okay? Forget you, lady. You're coming with me. We're gonna go to this Canadian place. Oh my God, it's the best place ever.
I spent about 4 hours on the internet trying to find out who the actor was in the Canadian restaurant. So
you couldn't find it?
I did.
Oh, who was it? Well, that's where we're at next.
Oh, okay.
It's dinner
okay,
next.
So
because he leaves Gizmo in the drawer and they go to dinner and Phoebe Cates sees them and is like, what the hell? He said he had a meeting.
And tells Phoebe, go get Gizmo's here. And she's like, what? Those things that ruined our life and forced us out of wherever we lived before. He's like, yeah, go up and get him. I'm going for dinner with my boss, who also happens to be this hot redhead. The actor because they go to a Canadian restaurant, which was super weird. Everything was served in like giant pieces of wood. Drinking a Molson Canadian.
Would you like another Molson there? Got the dessert, the chocolate mousse. Mousse.
And the actor was, I was like, oh, I'm going to look on here. It's going to be like John Candy or Eugene Levy. Like who was the guy in this amazing cameo? And his name was Joel Brooks. It was that famous actor, that famous Canadian actor. You know Joel Brooks? He's no one.
No. That's what I thought. All that for Joel Brooks?
Everything was, I was convinced because there was so much in there in that movie, just like little Easter egg things that I was like, this is going to be big. When I find out who this is, I was like, oh, Joel Brooks. Okay, never mind.
He's nobody. I keep forgetting Gizmo. Gizmo's in the office. He's wandering around, and this This is hilarious because it speaks to the efficiency of this building. The janitor's walking around like mumbling. I'm in the bathroom for 30 seconds, and that's $3. And then I'm stop for a drink of water for 0.03 seconds and take a sip, and bam, the water for some reason just shoots 100 miles in the air.
And that is the brilliance of the movie. That tension with Gizmo, because we all know what's going to happen if he gets wet, and it's just.
I'm actually yelling at TV, move out of the way! You know you're not supposed to get wet! And he's like, whoops,
Yeah.
whoops.
And when he gets wet, it's got to be like a.
It's like a Rube Goldberg thing or whatever, like.
And then drips on his back, and that's it. He just turns around, and you're like, oh, fuck, here we go.
It just sounds like the most terrible thing ever. He's just, and his skin's just popping out these other versions of himself, which.
It's just like back knee, like the worst back knee you've ever.
Popping itself, blah, 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 but just other shitty versions of yourself come out.
Why are they all evil? Like there's not ever another good.
Wrote that down too. Like, good. Why are they evil? They all pick on him. They're all mean to him. It's like, you came from him. You should be worshiping him. He should be your God.
Oh, I have children.
Well,
it's only for a little bit, and then you are their enemy.
Well, then at least for the first little while, they should be like, "Oh, Gizmo, we're your friends."
Because they pop out of him, and within seconds they've unscrewed the panel, and they've shoved them in the wall of the building and locked it back up.
They also speak English. They know how to walk. They know they're already his size. That's another thing. Like, what is a mogwai? I'd like to know what a mogwai is, because maybe insert commercial explanation right here. What is a mogwai? A mogwai is a small creature of unknown origin that was discovered by Randy Peltzer when visiting a Chinatown antique store. If a mogwai gets wet, it spawns new mogwai from its back. Small balls of fur that are approximately the size of a marble pop out from the wet mogwai's back. Then the fur balls start to grow in size before unfolding themselves into new and fully grown mogwai. This process does not take much time, but it still usually takes just about a minute. According to the novel, the creator of the species, Mort Gimon, wanted the mogwai to be able to easily reproduce themselves. The cocoon and gremlin stage are unwanted defects from when the mogwai species was created. It turns out that all the positive attributes are recessive. Because this thing replicates when it gets wet, and then they instantly grow to the same size. I'm like, wow, okay, where's the matter coming from?
Oh, God, because, there's some kind of, they're magical creatures. Are they like a unicorn, or are they...
Or like Wolverine. They can just regenerate themselves. Well, they can't regenerate.
But there should be an appropriate amount of time, and 2.4 seconds is not an appropriate amount of time to go to full grown and then be like, then turn on the person who birthed you.
Yeah,
that's 15 years. Trust me, I've got kids.
Considering that you have to go into a cocoon when you eat after midnight when you're one of these things, and that takes like a good 24 hours to quadruple in size or get even bigger and turn green, grow reptile skin and teeth and hair. Oh. And also, isn't it always after midnight? Like, seriously, it's after midnight right now. It's before midnight, but it's after midnight as well. This should be like they can't be fed between 12 a.m. and 4 a.m.
As Billy said in the control room, I don't make the rules, I just follow them.
I love that control room scene because I'm like, yes, you guys are asking the right questions.
What if he gets a caraway seed in between his teeth? He ate it before midnight, but then it comes out and...
He eats it at 12:02. Well, how does that work? I'm like, yeah, how does that work? It doesn't make sense. Is water food? What if they drink water? Oh, no, they just turn into more gremlins or mogwai. But still,
because they can't. That is something like they can never touch water. So how do they stay? Hydrated.
Are they
and everything's got an amount of water in it.
Yeah.
Can they drink Kool-Aid? Kool-Aid is mostly water.
They just drink milk. It's nothing but milk. Only animal milk.
It's probably yak milk or something like that. That's the only thing they're allowed to have.
Where do you get yak milk? No,
it sounds like
almond milk, oat milk. They're vegan.
This is a terrible pet for any give to a child or anyone.
Can I feed it? No, you can't feed it. What about baths? No, you can't bathe it. So what can I do with it? Nothing. It'll just terrorize you.
Great. Yeah, just kill it immediately and roast it.
Give me 3 of them, please. So he gets wet, he gets clones, and then... So we're coming up to midnight here. Why is this place so busy at 11:58?
Yes.
Because you see the clock over the shoulder of one person. I'm like,
What yogurt stand is open at past midnight in your office building?
So this is what led me to believe that the Clamp building was more than just an office building. It was a dwelling as well. It was like a building where people live and work. It's a live and work situation. But also go to the movies and go to the yogurt stand at midnight. Who even wants to work a yogurt stand at midnight?
Who can eat yogurt after midnight and then still sleep? Come on.
I'll just get farty in the morning. But yeah, we got the gremlins underneath the yogurt machine.
Oh, so good.
They're ingenious. Like they've rigged up some sort of hook system to pull down because they understand the inner workings of a yogurt stand. They know that if I pull on this, we're gonna get some yogurt.
The one mogwai is sitting underneath there, just pouring into his mouth, and his stomach is just, and then just covers his face just like a bukkake yogurt mogwai thing. You're welcome.
And then I guess they just decide there must be a time limit between when they eat and when they go into a cocoon phase, because they just decide like, hey, let's find a sweet spot. Let's climb up these pipes in the basement, and then hide up there.
And is that so? I did miss the part when Billy and Phoebe Cates. I just keep calling her Phoebe Cates because
she's Phoebe Cates.
Yeah. When they go back into the building because she takes the wrong mogwai home. And then they realize, oh fuck, we gotta go back to the building. They're trying to break in somewhere. Where were they?
Oh yeah, that's when they go back because they have to shut the water off. They're like, crap, we got to get back there, turn the water off, so at least they can't get wet because he's already got wet once. Right. Goes in there, and that's like boop boop boop, alert alert. It's like water main, and then they send in the one security guard in the whole building, and it's that guy from Groundhog Day.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's the guy from everything. He was one of those people who I was like, I know that guy.
I've seen that guy before. Yeah, he's trying to he shuts the water main off, and he's like, got a loaded gun pointed at his face, and he's like, what's in the bag? He's like, listen, you don't want to look at this. He's like, yeah, keep your mouth shut if you knew it was good for you, buddy. And it like jumps and hits him in the face, and he starts pulling the trigger. Yeah. He's blind. I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like, no safety. He just fires off 4 shots, and the thing runs away, and he's like freaking out, like, what was that? And he still looks at Billy and goes, you're crazy. You're a lunatic. And he's like, you just saw that thing, it just jumped you like in your face.
That's that's one of those things where you go like, how is he not like, we've got to get on it, shut off the water. What'd you say? Lock this building down. He's like, no.
Like, and then they don't do anything after that. Like this, like, why aren't you calling 911? Why aren't you talking to Clamp right away? Be like, dude, we got to shut this down.
Because they just they kick him out of the building. Phoebe has to go in the middle of the day, which it's after midnight, which there's some continuity errors. That's fine. And bails him out in front of all the mimes.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Sorry, he gets arrested there. Yeah, I wrote down, did they arrest a troop of mimes?
Yes.
Because they're letting him out of the truck and they're like, none of them are in cuffs. Not even pretending to be in cuffs. That would have been funnier.
Oh, God. And that's what, and I love mime. Good mime, there's nothing like a good mime.
Yeah, you're fucking old. Back in my day, we'd go to the mime show on Fridays.
Marcel, come on, he was great. I watch him on YouTube. He's got some.
There were some good mimes. I'll admit it. I'm just ribbing you. I forgot he got arrested. They're like, we got to get back there because they were cocooning when he was shutting the water main off. That's right, because they took him out. He's like, you're going downtown, pal, and it's like cocoons.
And Gizmo is underneath because Gizmo is getting set up to be tortured because they hate him. If you thought they hated him when they were cute and kind of fuzzy, they really hate him when they're reptilian monsters.
I still don't understand why. I wonder if there's like a behind the scenes documentary of this. Like, let's explain to you why the Gremlins are so evil.
I saw there is a Gremlins 2 wiki and it's not correct. There's a lot of people like taking a deep dive, and I'm like, no, it's just a comedy bit. That's fine.
Yeah, you're getting way too deep into this. I'm asking questions, but I don't really want answers. So yeah, he goes back to the building.
He goes into the control room, and Forrester's like, you got arrested. Why are you back here? And this is where he starts explaining to them. He's like, no, you got to listen to me. And this is the where everything falls apart in the building.
Yeah, because they start with microwaving with Marge because it's one set. They go microwave with Marge. I love this old lady. She's like, we used a little bit of sherry. I use a lot. She's getting hammered because that's what you do on daytime TV because it's terrible.
And what is she making? She's making these bologna and bean dip roll-ups for your guests.
Want to step up your appetizer game when your friends come over? And this is where we just start seeing Gremlins like crazy. Gremlins popping out of the pot. They all somehow. This is again where I'm like nitpicking. I'm like, how'd they get Gremlin size chef's attire? Gremlin size chef's hat and an apron. I'm like, they have children on the show?
Well, this is why I'm always like, you can't be you can't be scared. It felt very Muppety to me, where I was like, oh, like 6-7-year-olds could watch this. They can't because they're gonna be haunted in their nightmares. But I'm like, isn't it cute? Like, yeah, they've got all this little beanie propellers and stuff like that, and the one with the crazy kooky eyes. Isn't he adorable?
He's kind of adorable. But on the flip side of that is the one that attacks the control room people. That's like, I'm like, Jesus Christ, bites Forrester in the neck. Like, that was scary. Yeah. Even like watching it last night, I was like, damn, this is really well done. Like, this is kind of kind of creeps me out.
There's so many attack scenes, and I was like, oh, they just had to make a bunch of fake arms, because you realize the actors are like underneath puppeting. That's why I was like, I watched one scene, I was like, how did they do? Oh, that's how they did it.
I didn't even think of that. I was just so enthralled by how well they made it look.
Oh yeah,
like, damn.
That's your Halloween costume this year. That's Jeff hilarious. Is getting attacked by Gremlin.
I saw somebody do that with a zombie.
Yeah,
a zombie puppet one. He has like one arm, fake arm sticking out here, and then he was just. I was like,
so good.
This is impressive. I love when people make costumes like that, or like when they're carrying themselves in a box.
Those are all my costume. My go-to every year is just blood out of my eyes, blood tears. I'm like, what do you do? My kids, I'm just like, I'm just gonna put some blood tears,
just crying blood. I got kids.
And people are like, that is probably the most creepy costume I've seen tonight.
Well, yeah, and nothing else, just the blood in the eyes.
Just the blood tears. So dressed in my normal attire, a hoodie, and blood tears. They're like, what do you go?
What are you supposed to? So they start the fire in the kitchen with the cookware in the microwave, blow it up, and it's like sprinklers. Boom. Now we got gremlins. Lots of gremlins.
And this is why this movie, they just go from like, it ramps up, and when it goes off, it goes off. Because as soon as that sprinkler comes on, it's just a sea of gremlins. And the guys in the control room are like, what is that? That's got to be mice, right? That's mice. Yeah. It's like, it's just the fucking thing that burst out of your control panel. There's millions of them.
The rodent tracker. And then he's like, well, whatever they are, they have to respect the hierarchy of control. And he's like, what the hell are you talking about? They're monsters. They're not going to listen. Oh, yeah. In the midst of this, too, we've been introduced to the camera guy, the Asian tourist camera guy, which I'm like, oh, my God, I love this guy. He's hilarious. Just taking pictures of everything.
And he is one of those guys who just like his character, and that was it, basically plays the same characters on 16 Candles, Long Duck Dong. But he is like so good, and he has a bigger part in it when Fred commandeers him, and is like, that was the big thing about, because that was the inspiration for my Broken Dreams real estate agent. Was Fred going, like, oh geez, I thought I was going to be an announcer, and then sees his opportunity and is like,
live.
Do you know how to work a camera? And I'm not even going to do it, but he goes, yes, I am a camera.
Work a camera? I am a camera. That was the line that like stuck in my head. When you said Gremlins 2, I was like, I am a camera. I just remember how excited he was. I was like, yes, this guy's hilarious.
Yeah, he's so good. And they have, and Clamp is unflappable. Like when Clamp goes into his office, he's talking to his secretary as the gremlins are taking over the building, and he's like, oh, what should we do today? Let's write some memos.
Well, did he know?
No, he had no idea.
Yeah, so that was a question I had, was like, does this dude just hang out in his top floor office all day, like with the blinds drawn by himself, just like boop, 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 boop.
And he's got a shower, he's got a full beautiful shower and everything in his office, but he's completely unflappable, because even when there is the gremlins, and does find out there's gremlins in the building, he's like, well, we got to get rid of these, I guess.
See, this is why he's Scorpio. You're going to realize who Scorpio is. Like, oh, it's Clamp. He's like, yeah, let's do some memos. And this is where his secretary gets attacked outside.
Where does she go?
She just falls under the desk, I think.
Yeah,
and just stays there.
That's what you tell the children when you watch it. They're like, where did she go?
She's under the desk, honey. She's fine.
Okay.
And yeah, he ends up putting one through the shredder. The thing almost takes him with him by holding his tie. It's like, ooh, goodness. But yeah, he gets out and he's just kind of like, oh, what is all this stuff? This is disgusting.
And my just goodness. The pea soup in the waste paper basket is so great. And you get more of that with Phoebe Cates in the elevator, because she's trying to escape in the elevator as the gremlins are trying to get into the elevator to get her. And when the elevator plummets to the ground.
50 floors.
She's
I think
fine.
She says 51, and they're like 51. Going down.
And pea soup up through the bottom of the elevator. Just
I love the two ladies waiting for the elevator. Like, we'll get the next one.
could you? How could you survive that drop if you were Phoebe Cates?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like 51 floors, it's 510 feet. That's a long drop.
But there are those giant springs on the bottom. Do those help?
I think.
Or do I not understand physics?
Well, I guess if you just jump before it. Remember when you used to do that?
That's exactly it.
You just jump before it hits the floor, and you're fine.
That's how that works. And then everyone who's like goes, oh, wait a second, it's falling and I'm stuck on the roof as it's plummeting to the ground.
You're just getting extra slammed.
I can't jump.
You can't jump. If something's falling, you can't jump off of it. Like you have to put so much force into that jump to actually get enough lift to stall out and then fall on. I think anyway. I'm no professional
physician.
Yeah, I'm not a physicist. I think so. We used to do that in the elevators and like hotel rooms when you're a kid, and when it's going up to you, like you hit the floor, you got to jump, and it feels like you jump twice as high. But I don't even think you do it all.
One of the greatest pleasures I have in my life now is jumping up and down in an elevator with my children because they
scare them.
Oh, they get terrified. My son legitimately is like, "Would you freaking quit that?" And I like to jump up and down. I'm like, is it in the elevator? Are you worried we're gonna fall? He gets very upset.
We got Leonard Maltin doing a movie review of Gremlins. In Gremlins 2, I was like, this movie is great. Meta.
So good.
And then he's like, who would want to watch this? This is terrible. Gremlins. And the gremlins are creeping up behind him like, and
he's
like, it's great. It gets a 10. It gets a 10.
That was, I think he referred to that as gratuitous cameo. And is that the point where... because there is that break, like it's not a breaking.
Not yet.
Okay.
Like breaking the fourth wall
yeah,
type
yeah,
thing.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
that's what's
leave
coming
it.
up. Because now it's like they get into the genetics lab. So one of them eats the veggie medley or whatever becomes the veggie gremlin. And then you've got the bat gremlin, which gets released. You get the smart gremlin. I love the smart gremlin.
He's Tony Randall. He's
He's from New Zealand. It's like he's a New Zealand accent, kind of.
I don't even know what it's a fancy accent.
We're talking about Gremlins 2, and you say, well, the IQ. Oh, no, it's not even New Zealand, but that's kind of what he sounds
But that is his like. No, he's got a very high tone upscale accent.
Yes. I love when he falls. He comes back up and he's already wearing glasses. He's wearing a pair of glasses that came up through the genetics. Yeah.
We've got to talk about it. And there's one point, too, where he's reading the double helix, like some genetics book. Oh, hello, of course. Yeah. A little light reading.
Oh, wait, no, it was right there, actually. It was the... Oh, no, hold on. Because the bat gremlin gets released because he's like, well, fly, young fellow. This is where you're going. Because he sticks him with the sunblocker serum as well. And he's like, no, our species, blah, 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 we're susceptible to the sun, but not where you're going. You'll get this. And he like releases him out through the wall, leaves the bat symbol.
Which is a Warner Brothers movie. I think Batman was pretty big at the time.
Warner Brothers did all Batman cartoons and everything.
Because I like that they setting it in the genetics lab made it so easy. We're like, gremlins are afraid of light, and they're like, oh no, we conveniently have this genetic bats sunlight protector internally. There you go. This will be a great bet.
And then, the bat gremlin flies those. Oh, this is where they break the fourth wall. After, because Murphy he's like, oh, what is that? And then it flies down, attacks Futterman. He cements it, hits it with a cement truck, and then it just
turns
flies up
into a gargoyle.
I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
And that's why so many good, beautiful little bits like that. Like I knew, even though I've only seen it once 30 years ago on A&E at 3:00 in the morning, whatever it was, I was like, oh, this is the part where it turns into a gargoyle. Well, it's like, when did you ever watch this movie?
And then they break the fourth wall because I'm like, what the hell? Because they're talking, all of a sudden it's like,
yeah. Did you remember that from watching as a kid or no?
For a split second, I'd forgotten it. And then I was like, oh, wait, this is where the gremlins hijack the movie. Because I was like, whoa, crap, did the version just start slowing down? What's going on? I'm like, oh, wait, no, they break the fourth wall.
And it's good for that. It's good for that. So how do they solve that problem? What do they do? They were like, it's 1989, you're writing a movie script, you're like, I've done this, I've gotten this far, I've broken the fourth wall. How do I get the movie back on track?
What's popular right now? What pop culture figure could just bring this movie back to where it needs to be?
someone. If only there was someone in yellow shirt. I'm seeing a yellow shirt. It said, brother.
I'm a real American. Excuse me, sir. The gremlins have taken over. What are you talking about, brother?
Gremlins. We got gremlins here.
People pay good money to watch this movie, brother. You better turn it back on. Sorry about that, kids.
And that's all. And that's all that. He's a baby in this too. He's such a fresh-faced, like young baby in it. But it's funny that that's it. It's just like, oh, right back into the movie.
So there's another electric gremlin that can travel through the phone lines. There's a Phantom of the Opera gremlin who gets acid on his face, puts on a mask. There's also the chick gremlin.
And the chick gremlin is, I think that's why I thought she reminded me a lot of Miss Piggy.
I was going to say Miss Piggy or...
She's very sexually aggressive.
Or Gremlin Goldie Hawn.
Oh, very nice. I like that.
That's what I saw.
Very sexy. I was like, oh, gremlins.
Forrester was into her at the end.
Yeah, that was, I know, it's a little bit... I was watching with people who were like disturbed and gross. Like I was taking it in good humor, but they were disturbed by that.
It was a little strange. So at this point, they've taken over the genetics lab, and Chris Lee's like, don't worry, I have some small arms, some guns. He has Uzis, like fully automatic Uzis.
Okay, so that's where...
America.
Because I didn't know where they came from when I watched it the second time, and that's where I saw the gremlin was just... And I was like, oh, where did those come from? So at least I know it's like, Christopher Lee's like, just in case, any of our unlawful experiments get out of hand, we can mow them down.
We got it covered. We got Uzis.
And there was a good, I love the gag with the one gremlin drinking the milk and then spouting milk because he's been shot. So you're like, I guess they don't die from guns either. I don't know.
Just to see, but he's drinking milk though. I didn't notice that.
Oh yeah,
milk.
So
I guess milk doesn't get them wet.
Oh God,
there's so many levels, so many layers to this movie.
There's holes everywhere. Holes.
And then Stripe, because Stripe, he still has his alter ego.
Yes.
So Gizmo still gives birth to Stripe.
Because there is
like the
Stripe is from
gremlin from the first one. Stripe was like the one that they couldn't kill. He had to kill him in the toy store.
Because he's not Mohawk.
Stripe, I believe.
Yeah. Is there a Mohawk gremlin too?
Comment below if it's Stripe or Mohawk. We're not sure.
I think it's Stripe, but I was reading on the very unreliable Gremlins 2 wiki, and they were calling him Mohawk.
Mohawk?
And I was like, no, I remember Stripe.
His name is Mullet.
Let's say like a mullet gremlin would be great.
He drinks the spider stuff. I remember that being really creepy because A, I don't like spiders, and B, the gremlin spider combination looked terrifying. Like terrifying. Ugh. Yeah.
And that was Stripe, Spike, Mohawk, who turned into the spider gremlin?
Yes.
Okay.
Mohawk spider gremlin Spike was the big bad guy. And now we get flashback to Gizmo because we haven't seen him in a while. He spends a little while training, doing some weightlifting. He's also making himself a bow and arrow.
Yes.
I made paperclip bows when I was a kid after watching this.
Inspired by Rambo, I think. Was that from the beginning?
Yeah, because he was watching, because they're like, you can keep the TV. And he grabs a remote and he's like, click, and he's watching Rambo. And he knows who Rambo is because he's like, Rambo.
Is that everyone knows who Rambo?
I guess.
Is the when you made were you successful making the little miniature?
Oh yeah, made him in school.
Oh God, that's great.
I didn't shoot very far. I definitely couldn't shoot a pencil with a bottle of whiteout on the end. That was on fire.
And then ignite everything in a...
Is whiteout explosive? Did they let us play with explosives in school?
I was too busy smelling it to...
I love this class. Give me your markers. So yeah, he interviews. So Fred is now like, I'm going live. So he's been going live here now. He's telling everybody on the outside what's going on. Because on the outside, people are like, what's happening in the Clamp building? Because they've evacuated as many people as they could, I think.
Yeah, and actually, Mr. Clamp escapes at this point.
Oh, yeah,
he's already escaped out of his secret
I can use my
tunnel.
secret escape hatch.
See, this movie is complete fucking chaos.
Oh, and Futterman went back in. Futterman's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm going to use the hatch to get back in. I don't know where it goes, but I'm going in.
Because he comes in, Mr. Futterman to the rescue. I wrote that about 9 times in my notes.
At this point, Billy gets knocked out. So yeah, Fred interviews the New Zealand gremlin who's talking about how they just
The
want
New Zealand-
equality. We just want to be equals. We want to explore New York. We want to be civilized. And he like blows the head off of a gremlin that's laughing at him. I'm like,
That wasn't civilized,
Well, it
but it
wasn't
was fun, wasn't it?
it's just
And that's where Fred actually makes an exit because Fred's
this
like
thing is
sees him shoot him. Is like, I'm fucking out of here.
then when Billy wakes up, he's been trapped by the dentist gremlin. So they also have a dental office in this building as well.
So it's a completely. I don't see anything wrong with that. I would love to live in the Clamp building if it still exists. If it's got everything there.
Oh, it's coming. That was 1990. Like people, Elon Musk looked at that and went, I will have my own
The Musk
clown
building.
building at some point.
When they knock him out and tie him up, was it Marathon Man or was it Little Shop of Horrors? Like, what was the tip of the hat? Because there was like, and I've never seen Marathon Man, but I've seen Little Shop of Horrors, and I was like, oh, that's like Little Shop of Horrors.
I think it might be Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah.
It was like the silhouetted shot where he gets knocked out.
Gets
talking
knocked
about
out, and
that?
then he's tied up, and the dentist, the gremlin, comes to, and they do love their little gremlin costumes because he's got the full dentist costume, and the drill in
that-
there is ready to.
That would be scary. I couldn't handle that. I'd be freaking the hell out because, like, I don't like dentists to begin with, and a gremlin laughing maniacally like that,
As he's
swinging that
coming
thing
up-
on my face. No thanks. Thank God Futterman comes to save him. How does he save him?
Futterman comes in, chases him out with the light, with
that's right.
the lamp.
Sorry, I cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I just find it funny when they like get him with the light. I'm like, now step on it. Like,
Yes.
and you blinded it, and it's like, ah! And then it's slowly you see the shadow going
And then
run around the corner.
scutter.
I'm like, just chase it and kick it. They're like the size of small children.
Yeah,
Be able to
They're
punt
the
these
size of
things
a
pretty good.
A Sphinx cat.
Sphinx
You
cats.
could.
Yeah, break their neck, rip their arms off. Like I feel like they're like plush toys. They'd
Is
be
this-
easily killable.
And there's no one's going to be upset with you. I don't think destroying gremlins like that.
Peta's outside. Save the gremlins
Gremlins are people too, or something like that.
till they get bit.
I know. That's why I just said it's like it is complete chaos. It's the spider. Marla is clueless.
Oh yes.
Has no idea what's going on. She's wandering around looking for lights and then gets tangled up in the spider gremlin's spider web.
It spun that web pretty quick.
Yeah. And trapped her, and then and Phoebe Cates comes along to rescue her. They sort out Marla's attempts to coerce Billy into some unsavory.
I didn't even get to first base. It's fine. It's
She's
fine.
like, all right then, I'll get you out of there. And of course, the spider gremlin turns up, but Gizmo to the rescue.
I love the line, like he lights him on fire, and they're like, "Oh man, what happened? I guess they pushed him too far."
Is that from Rambo? Okay.
They pushed him too far.
Because that all those things, like, there's stuff that's said in there that's a tip of the hat to something else, and I'm like, I don't know what that was, but I know it was something.
I knew that. I figured that one was Rambo. I just watched Rambo. Actually, I just watched Rambo 3 last week. Still great. And again, one of those movies I watched as a child. I'm like, why did my parents let me watch this?
Yeah.
It's just murders.
Because you were a kid from the 80s. They didn't care.
Yep, movies with nudity, movies with violence,
Yeah.
murder, adult situations. Like, we grew up fast.
What's the movie got in it? It's got boobs and murder in it. You're like, it's perfect. He's 11. He's going to have to learn about those at some point.
We have some free time. Just let them watch it. So yeah, they get them all in the lobby because they're having a party. So their plan is to, because Clamp's outside, they're going to block out the windows, move all the clocks ahead because gremlins understand time.
And they were moving the clocks ahead to
7 o'clock, 7:30 because sunset was 7:30.
4:20, which was...
Well, yeah, they said, let's drop it at 4:20. And they're like, nah. I'm like, nice.
Okay. And is that actually like, I don't know much about 420, but I was like, 1990 was 420 a thing? Would that have been like, would all the stoners out there watching Gremlins 2 in the theater be like, dude.
I did in 2021. I was like, yeah. Nice. I'm sure they did.
You're like, he said 420. Light him up.
Fuck you. When you mess, I'm like, I'm watching Gremlins. You're like, get lit. I'm like, dude, I went 2 weeks without weed. On Sunday, I smoked one joint. I was talking to my buddy on the phone for a while, and after like 20 minutes after smoking that joint, I'm like, I'm not even making any sense right now. I was high. The whole rest of the night was a write-off. I'm like, oh, man, I can't do this again. So I thought about it last night. I was like, no. I'm going to wait till the long weekend and maybe smoke a little if I go camping. That's be about it.
But
I can't smoke like I used to. It's crazy.
No,
it
I
just
can't.
fucks me right up.
The Gremlins go, they have a beautiful musical number.
Fully
which was
choreographed number.
awesome. New York. It was brilliant.
It was pretty good.
And then they realize that when because they're going to drop the sheet out there, fry all the gremlins in the lobby, and then they realize that. How do they know?
There's a storm. All of a sudden, it's like, cacao.
How do they know inside the building that that's happening if everything's blocked?
Because I think it just came down to Billy knew they were going to drop it at 420, and he trusted that Clamp was going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And when it didn't happen at 420, he was like,
He's
crap,
like, shit.
we need a backup plan because they're going to get out of
Yeah.
here. But even though you had 3 more hours till they could escape because it's still daytime, you knew that. So they might have just started walking outside and getting fried as they walked outside.
Because Billy takes a massive gamble.
Yeah, huge. He's like, Butterman, grab that fire hose, spray them. He's like, I hope you know what you're doing, Billy. And then they trapped the electric gremlin in the office on the phone, which I don't know how. Physics.
It doesn't. Well, it's one of those things. They're like, I know what has to happen in the end to raise the stakes, and this is how we'll do it.
So yeah, they soak the whole crowd. Transfer the call, and they zap every single one of them, and it's just a gooey mess.
And that was the horrifying part, was when the gremlins start to melt. So like I could see, because even for me now, that was a little bit like, ooh, I could see how that would give you nightmares as a child.
Nightmare fuel. It was gross.
Yeah.
But they fry them all. And I was enjoying the hut, 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 hut. Whenever you see like a group of cops or like SWAT team coming, hut, 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 hut. And of course, Clamp's leading them because he went from like wearing his suit 10 minutes ago. Now he's in full riot gear. Like, let's get inside and get these gremlins. Because that was their backup plan, was like, let's just go and fuck these gremlins up.
That's what they were going to go in and do. That was their...
I guess. I just realized that now. I'm like, oh, they were coming in
Just
locked and loaded.
come in hot.
Yeah, shotguns and everything. Because there's that one... This made me laugh out loud. This was great. Where like they're walking around, like looking through. All of a sudden, one guy just shoots, and he goes, "What was that?" He goes, "It moved."
Everyone would have died in that, because if they walked in there and those gremlins, before they were all electrocuted, and those gremlins were in there, it would just have been a fucking bloodbath. And not the gremlins. It would have been...
Oh, the shotguns would have taken out three at once.
Oh,
it would have just been a green, gooey mess.
I feel like that would have been a good theme park if you could capture the gremlins and you could just like give people a live ammunition and be like, just wander through here and destroy as many gremlins as you want. You're like, great.
Did you ever
I had a terrible week at work.
Did you ever watch Black Mirror? Any Black Mirror episodes?
I did watch some of them, but...
You ever watch the one where the soldiers are killing monsters, but they've actually been implanted with a microchip that makes them view innocent people in this one country as monsters? I just got an idea for the same thing where it's like, here, kill these gremlins. Your chip malfunctions, you're just shooting children. What the hell am I doing?
That's so great.
Boom, Black Mirror. So yeah, Clamp goes in, he's like, we're insured. Don't worry. I'm like, insured for gremlins?
Nah, I think that invalidates your show.
So you're telling me that your building was infested by monsters? Gremlins, to be specific? Your policy
like,
cover gremlins.
That's it. You go, no, you check no for gremlin insurance. We're not going to cover you.
I recommend the gremlin insurance. I think we're okay.
Because I do like that he's just, well, that's what I mean. He's completely unflappable. Like the whole thing doesn't matter what's going on. He's calm and cool and collected. He never loses his mind once. And him and Marla at the very end goes, oh, this is Marla. Marla, you work for me, don't you?
He just met her yesterday,
Yeah.
like 12 hours ago. And he's like, you work for me, don't you? She's like, yes, I do. Oh my God.
Everything was, that was good. That was a good.
God. I work for you very hard.
Yeah. You started to like slip into an Australian accent, but
Work for you very hard.
what is it? It's Australian Jersey.
Jersey Australian. I do work for you very hard.
Because they let in all the reporters, and that's exactly, they're like,
You can. My new head of PR, public relations, can handle that.
you could talk to her.
She's like, "Where's the camera? Right here." Oh my God!
No,
it
with
was
the accent, Jeff. With the accent.
Where's the camera? Right here. Oh my God! It was terrible. We were there. These little monsters were everywhere. I actually have a camera, and I'm looking over here instead, like an idiot.
But that's for a fact. Where's the camera?
True.
It's all.
And then Forrester's still upstairs, and he's like, "What floor are you on? Way up there, huh? Oh, we're not going to be able to get you for a while. Well, the elevators are broken, and the stairs are out. The stairs are broken, and the elevators are out. So just hang tight, Forrester."
and this may be the most disturbing thing, more disturbing than melting gremlins, more disturbing than anything else. This part of the movie might be the female gremlin, who is very sexy, but for gremlin, very sexy. And then turns around and he's like, his one pant leg shredded, and she turns around and she's in a wedding dress, and they start playing the wedding music. Da 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 da. And he's like, oh, and that's the last scene of the movie. She's walking forward, lips big. She's got big, red, luscious lips. And Forrester's looking horrified. And then he just kind of, I'm into this. Maybe.
And does he slide down?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, he does.
He slides down. And you're like, oh, Forrester and that gremlin can do some fucking.
He fucked that gremlin. He's like, well, I'm stuck up here for a while. Nobody's going to know. I could just kill this thing when I'm done. Real dark.
But that's the movie I want to see then. I want to see Forrester not killing but him and Greta the gremlin, that's her name according to the Gremlins Wikipedia.
Actually?
Try to have a relationship and maybe have children too. What would their children be like? If he shoots jizz on her, does she start popping off? It's like, oh, we are immediately having babies.
Octuplets. Stop. Oh, God. Gremlins 3, Forrester and Greta.
Oh, so write that script, pitch it to Spielberg.
It's recorded now. And that was Gremlins 2, the new batch. What did you real rate this?
I real rated this. I got I real rated this 8 savage corporate entrepreneurs out of 10 Greta gremlins.
Ooh, damn. I gave it 7.5 exploding mogwais out of 10 gremlin cocoons. It was good, man. 31 years later, I still enjoyed this movie.
I liked it like way more than I thought I would. When I gave out the movie suggestions, and then Gremlins 2 threw that in the last, and then you were like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, yeah, really? And then I watched it, and I was like, oh, fuck, that was a really funny movie. And I feel like I'm not smart enough to get it, but there is a message in there somewhere where it's like technology bad, and relationships, family good, or something like that. Like even when Fred's interviewing the smart gremlin, Tony Randall, the New Zealand gremlin, there's something in there where you're like, oh, the gremlins, are they people? And what are they exposing about human nature or something like that? And that's what I mean. I'm dumb. I don't get it, but I know it's there.
See, this is what I took from the movie, is that you have to believe in your true self, because your true self will trump all the other selves you have. Like, we all have our super goofy, lazy side, our evil side. There's all these different parts of us, right? Mm-hmm. And so when Gizmo gets wet, all of his other sides come out, and they turn into these savage monsters. But the real Gizmo is the one that kicks the ass of all the other ones, and he takes over, and he wins in the end.
And is good and like morally upset. I like that. That's great.
That's what I pulled out of it. I was like, yeah, because like Stripe is like his real evil counterpart, and the rest of them are all like other shitty traits. But like Gizmo's the heart of it all. He's the good side.
He's the pure good gremlin.
That's why they all pick on him, because they're like, oh yeah, you goofy pussy, blah blah blah, being all nice to everybody.
But you have to stick true to your ethical and moral compass, and you will in the end triumph.
That's what it is.
Oh thank God, that's
you
beautiful.
learned it right here on Real Garbage, everybody. Darren, thanks for coming down and doing this. This was a lot
Jeff.
of fun. As always, follow Real Garbage on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a like or a dislike. I don't care. Doesn't matter. It's good for the algorithm. Subscribe and turn on notifications for new episodes every Sunday. And follow Darren on the Ill Informers. You can find his episodes on YouTube and everywhere else you get your podcasts. It's a lot of fun. Thanks again.
Excellent. Thanks for having me, Jeff. It was great.
All right. Peace.
Cheers.
You guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. It just means a lot. It really does. I hope you enjoyed that episode. We will see you here next week. Take care.
Real Garbage.